Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Hartson. Today I'll be breaking down the two-game NBA slate we have here for Thursday night on DraftKings. $50,000 up top to first place, so a good amount of money to be won, even though it's a two-game slate. So if you're new to the channel, my name is Hartz. I do daily slate breakdowns for the NBA and NFL here on DraftKings, where I talk through my favorite spin-up plays, mid-range options, and value plays for the slate. So if you're new to the channel, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. Check out my free Patreon link down below, where I'll go more in depth in my core plays and my building blocks for this slate once we get more injury news. And I will have NBA projections out pretty soon. I'd say within a week, hopefully. So definitely keep an eye out on that. They'll be on my Patreon as well. All 100% free. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the slate breakdown. As always, guys, make sure to follow me on Twitter at HardDFS. I'll answer any questions you guys have. Talk DFS. You can also find my Patreon linked in my profile, as well as my link tree, and you can always find it in the YouTube description below, and it is 100% free. So for this two-game slate, it's going to be a very interesting one, and the reason why I say that is because there is not really any spend-ups technically. Williams is out, Porzingis is questionable. If he's out, the next highest spend-up is going to be a guy of Kyle Kuzma, 8,700. So going to be a very interesting slate because there's two games. Really no spend ups, so you're going to be able to fit a good amount of guys into your lineup in the 7 and 8K range if you want to. So it just comes down to really just ownership, how it plays out with guys like Valanciunas, how it plays out with guys like CJ McCollum. There's a lot of value on the Spurs and Pelicans side, so I do think that's where the field's going to go. There is some value in the Utah and Washington side that you can definitely get different from, which could lead you to a better path of success, but obviously, I do think the Pelicans' value looks a little bit too good here in that matchup against the Spurs. So, for this breakdown, we have the Spurs. Keldon Johnson is doubtful. So, with him being out, we're probably going to see a starting lineup of a guy like Trey Jones, Vassell, Podol, and then I'd assume Jeremy's going to slide back in the starting lineup, and then they could probably go to a guy like Langford. We'll have to see. But yeah, I'm assuming that maybe the starting lineup. So with that starting lineup, do really like Vassell. Not really sure why he was so low owned in this spot against Houston. The game did blow out, but he got 42 fantasy points in 29 minutes. He does have, pretty high upside. So at 7,400, he does offer, a low floor. But with Keldon Johnson out, he should be the main guy. Should figure to get, the peripheral stats as well as score the ball. So I do really like Vassell there at 7,400. Not like as you can see from his box score, there's been games without Keldon Johnson, and he can go out there and just throw up like 30 fantasy points. Obviously not the best at 7,400, but the leader of this team in this matchup, I do think Devin Vassell looks great. Trey Jones, he's just kind of there for me, 6,500. Has the ceiling for like 40, 50 fantasy points if he's playing very, very well. Should see, mid 30s minutes. I just think he's okay. A decent price tag, should be the second highest guy in usage on this side, but I don't know. I just don't love his price tag there and just love him as a player. Do think he's more defensive minded, so at that price tag, don't love it. Podol, I think he's great if he's not on a minutes limit. He should see at least 30 minutes, if not more, if the minutes limit is gone. If he's still on a minutes limit, then at this price tag, 6,400, I don't think you need to do it. There's really no need. It'd be a pretty bad play there if he's going to see like 20, 25 minutes. Maybe he could get you there, but there really would be no need if he's on a minutes limit. So if he's not, love him as a player. Moving on to Zach Collins, 4,900. You could definitely get to him. It's not a good price tag for him, $4,900, but he's been productive when he's out there and he's seeing the minutes. I'd expect if Podol's on the minutes limit, I think you can expect Zach Collins to get mid-20s minutes. You could definitely take a shot on him. If Podol's not going to be on his minutes limit, then Zach Collins could see only like 15 to 20 minutes, and he'd be very, very risky. So at 4,900, I just don't think he's a play for me today, unless we got the news that Podol's going to be limited. Then you can definitely take a shot on him. And then for the value, the guys that stick out to me, the standout plays, are going to be Josh Richardson and a guy like, where'd he go? I think it'd be Josh Richardson and Jeremy as my like 1A and 1B options for this Spurs side. Just because Jeremy could start, he does have a decent upside if he's playing the starting minutes. So yeah, I don't mind going to him. He'd probably be the safest option of the bunch, followed by Josh Richardson, who's a little bit more of that scorer, Can get the peripheral stats, scoring dependent on times. But yeah, these guys are just a little bit too cheap. They should see 20 minutes. Like the 2A, 2B guys are going to be Doug McDermott, Bates Diop, and a guy like Romeo Langford. I prefer Dermott of that trio. Bates Diop does, start and see some minutes as well. So yeah, I mean, they're there. It's just, a decent amount of options. Not all the best point per minute guys, like the Pelicans side, but they're there. So you can definitely get to that Spurs value. For the Pelicans side, Zion's out, Brandon Ingram's out. CJ is going to be obviously the best play. Don't really have to go into that too much. I mean, you could definitely fade him, at 7,500. He does have a pretty low floor if he's not hitting his shots. We could definitely see other guys on this team step up. So you can make that argument to fade him. I don't hate it, but yeah, he should shoot the ball a good amount. Has that upside with the rebounds and assists as well. So I do really like CJ. That's not a contrarian take, I know, but he's going to be super chalky. But he's going to be the leader of the team, so it's hard not to play him. J-Val is going to be the biggest question mark on the slate. The reason why I say that is because before this huge game, which first off, it pisses me off because I talked about him for like a week and a half about how he's a great fantasy or a great tournament option just because, super foul prone, the minutes haven't been there, but if we see 30 minutes, he could smash. Of course, he plays 37, 7 to 10 from 3 and puts up 73 when he was like, I think like 5% owned. Unfortunately, I didn't play him, but yeah, I mean, he's massive upside, but he's just super foul prone. The minutes aren't always there. As we saw the previous like 3 weeks, he was just struggling to get the minutes. They've been going with Larry Nance. So it'll be interesting to see what the ownership is like if people chase him. Depending on the ownership, I think he makes for a great play. Obviously, he has huge upside, huge downside. So obviously the perfect tournament option. It just comes down to ownership for me. So right now, I'm just going to wait to see what the ownership is like for J-Val. Trey Murphy, 4,800. I do think he'll be the kind of like the secondary guy to a guy like CJ when it comes to scoring, shooting the ball. So I do think he's way too cheap there. He should look to be more aggressive in this spot. Same thing for a guy like, Herb Jones, Najee Marshall, Alvarado. All three of these guys are way too cheap. Of that trio, I prefer getting to Najee Marshall and then Alvarado and then Herb Jones. The reason why is Najee Marshall could slide into the starting lineup. He's been aggressive when he's out there, does offer a safe floor when it comes to like rebounds and assists. He's decent at getting blocks and steals as well. So I do think he has a decent amount of upside there at 3,700. I prefer getting to these Pelicans value guys over the Spurs guys just because they're more productive. Alvarado, should be the backup guard. Maybe they start him as well. We have seen, games where they start him alongside CJ. So I think I prefer him coming off the bench rather than starting along CJ. But, he should see, close to 30 minutes, if not more. So all three of these guys are pretty solid. Herb Jones, my least favorite of the bunch, even though he should see probably the most minutes of the group. It's just, he should shoot the ball a little bit more. Does have some upside, but I do think it's safer getting to the other two over Herb Jones. But I think all three look great alongside. I forgot to mention Larry Nance. He could have to take a shot on him. If he's good to go, you could definitely look to him over a guy like J-Val because they have been closing with Larry Nance. He has massive upside. Should see, mid-20s minutes. Maybe they start him alongside J-Val. Who knows? Obviously, the Spurs aren't that tall, so maybe they don't do that. But if he's playing, you can definitely fade J-Val and go to Larry Nance. I do think that'll be popular. But yeah, we'll have to see if he's playing. If he's out, we can look to a guy like Willie Hernangomez at 3,000 who should see maybe 15 minutes. Maybe that leaves a safe amount of minutes for a guy like J-Val to play. But we can look to Willie Hernangomez there at 3,000. Or you could get super risky, go to Jackson Hayes, who really hasn't been in the lineup or rotation at all this year. But maybe they, for some reason they look to him. We could always, look at that way. And then moving on to Washington, Porzingis at 9,000. If he plays, I love him. If he's out, Kuzma and Beal obviously are going to be the leaders of the team. I prefer getting to Beal, even though Kuzma, I'd say, has a little bit higher of a ceiling. But yeah, they both make great plays. I would like getting to Denny there at 5,700 if Porzingis is out. We saw the upside in that last game. Not going to shoot the ball a ton, but he's one of those guys who just seems like he's going to be doing a little bit of everything. Now, maybe he loses a few minutes with a guy like Rui back, but with Rui back for the first time in a month, expect him to be on some sort of minutes limit, like around 20. So I do think we'll still get, at least 25 minutes out of Denny, if not more. So 5,700, I don't mind getting to him if Porzingis is out. Do think he looks very solid. Monte Morris, should see the minutes. It's just he's not always the most productive when he's out there, but you can definitely take a shot on him. I don't mind it. If he gets 25 fantasy points, I think that's very, very solid there at 5,100. Daniel Gafford should start if Porzingis is out. If he does, love him there at 5,000. So there's a lot to like on this Washington side. Goodwin's always a tournament option. You could definitely get risky and play him. Not the best salary price there, 4,700, but he does offer some upside. Can definitely get you there if he plays only even 15 minutes. So you could definitely look to get contrarian from the field and play a guy like Goodwin who should see. I'd say safest would be 15 minutes. He could definitely go into the 20-minute range, depending on how Monte Morris is doing, if there's any foul trouble with the guards. So, yeah, you could definitely get, risky with Goodwin there. I don't mind doing that to get different from the field. And then a guy like Will Barton's there. Sure, you can go to him. I don't think he looks good at all. A guy like RUDY, 15 to 20 minutes if he's on a minutes limit. Don't think there's a need to play him. If he's not on one, I do like him a good amount there. And then Kispert, if you think he's going to hit 5+ threes, you can go to him. But, yeah, don't really like him. And then moving on to Utah. Obviously, we know Laurie and Clarkson are going to lead the team. I prefer getting to Clarkson just because of the price difference. I do think they have similar upsides. Obviously, Laurie has been a little bit higher and, I guess, safer recently, especially with the minutes. They're running these guys a ton of minutes. Even if the guy like Sexton back, maybe Clarkson loses a few minutes, maybe Conley does, but they're going to be the leaders of the team. So I do really like both of them. Vanderbilt, just super frustrating because this dude, 23 minutes, 50 bomb, 32, 50 bomb, but in between that, he's super foul prone. Could see, 24 to 20 minutes. It's just, he's super risky. I don't like playing him. You can definitely go to him. He's been productive, but the last, 3 weeks, last month, he's just been very, very up and down when it comes to the minutes and his production. So it seems like every few games he has one good game and then the rest are just bad. So it's not a great price tag, but he does offer that upside. And with Kelly O out, he should see a safer floor as well. So if you want to go there, sure, you can. I don't love it. I don't think a lot of the field will love it unless people chase his last game for some reason. But yeah, you can definitely go to him. I don't think it's a need or a priority. Colin Sexton, if he's back, I do think it'll take some minutes away from a guy like Conley, maybe a few from Clarkson. But, he should come off the bench, 5,600. If he's on a minutes limit, don't like him. If he's off one, I do like him to get, as a contrarian option in that like mid 5K range where there's a decent amount of guards. But yeah, I think he looked decent, even though he's pretty score independent. Kessler should start again. He's a very, very solid point per minute guy. Obviously not going to shoot the ball a ton. Has a double-double upside. It just comes down to if he's going to stay out of foul trouble. If he does, he should see close to 30 minutes, I'd say. And he could be very, very productive, even in a small amount of time. So I think it's a decent matchup here for Washington with Kessler. Obviously, he's not going to be the main guy, but 5,400 does have some huge, huge upside with that price tag. Conley, sure, if you want to get different from the field, you could definitely go to Conley. Kind of like a Monte Morris play. They're just not the best, but they could definitely get you into the mid-30s range. Beasley, I don't mind him there at 5,200. He's another one of those plays, kind of like a Jordan Goodwin for me, who obviously Beasley is going to see more minutes. He's pretty score independent, but he does offer a huge ceiling if he's going to get hot from the field. Yeah, I really like getting different with Beasley. I do think he's one of the keys to the slate. If you play him and he's having a good shooting night, 5,200 could easily set you up to be able to cash, if not take down. So I do think Beasley is going to be one of my favorite plays from this Utah side. I haven't really played him all this year at all. I think maybe once. So really hoping for a Beasley ceiling game, but I do think it's setting up to be a great spot here for Beasley. Coming off the bench against Washington, $5,200. He's shooting guard and small forward eligible as well. So really like Beasley here, even if Sexton is back. And then Rudy Gay is always an interesting value option here. Played 22 minutes that last game. Did blow out, so he did see, I guess, a few extra, but he should see close to 20 minutes, 15 to 20. He could definitely get you there in that amount of time. Hasn't been shooting the ball great recently, but I mean, he's going to be productive when he's out there. Can get you some steals and blocks. So yeah, I mean, if he's going to see 20 minutes, I don't mind taking a dart throw on Rudy Gay there at 3,300 to get different from the field because he's going to be pretty cheap. And yeah, let's finish off this lineup here. So we have these 4 players. Who else do we want to get? Let's just assume Porzingis is in for right now. Do really like him there. 5,700 left over. Now we gotta decide between the J-Val and Larry Nance news. Let's assume Larry Nance is in. If he is, I do kind of prefer getting to him over J-Val. We'll have to see the ownership difference, as I said, but yeah, do like that. And then for the last two spots, let's see here. It's gonna be hard not getting into a guy like Vassell, and then 5,100 left over. Let's see here. Let's move Vassell to the forward spot. And then go to the guards. Lines up for Monte Morris. As I said, you can make that pivot to a good one, get riskier, but obviously Goodwin's ownership is going to be way lower. You can always dip down into guys like Jose Alvarado. You go to Jose Alvarado, throw him in there. We could get off of a guy like Beasley. Let's see what 6,900 can get us at small forward. You can throw in Denny. So yeah, there's a good amount of options here. We'll just leave it at this. We'll just move Jose out for right now, and then we'll just put it in. Actually, we'll just leave Jose in there for now. 1,700 left over. Yeah, that's going to do it for the slate breakdown. If you guys liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe, turn that notification bell, and I appreciate all the support you guys have been showing me recently. Can't thank you guys enough, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.